If you're a coach in the online space, you've heard this before like 100 times. Just be yourself. When it comes to sales, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to packaging, pricing, messaging, just be yourself. But do you know why just being yourself is ruining your high ticket sales and your coaching business? One of the things that I see with women coaches who come into the prosperous womb and we work together and God made women millionaires is this whole I'm just gonna be myself. It's like a rebellion against mommy and daddy. Here's the thing. You haven't been yourself since you were 10 years old. You've been cosplaying as your teachers, your mentors, your coach, your mastermind sisters. The last time you were yourself, you were probably 5 years old. So how can you sell as you if you have never been yourself because you're playing so many different characters, being so many different things to so many different people? Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Prosperous Womb. So why is being yourself ruining your high ticket sales and your coaching business? Because of identity. Because a long time ago, and we all still do this, we forget to remember who we are. When was the last time you showed up in your life, in any area of your life, your business, or your relationship, as the person that God says that you are? Do you even know? Have you met that best version of you that God says that you are? So how can you sell as you when the you you're selling as is a combination of all the crappy stories and beliefs you've told yourself for the last 40 years? When clients come to me and they want a new strategy for high ticket sales, or they want a pricing strategy, or they want a packaging strategy, or they want to work on something else, the first thing we do is remove everything that is not us. We first remove everything out of you that is not of you, that is not who God says you are and what God says that you can do in the assignment God has placed you here for. Are you selling the offer for the work that God is doing through you? Are you speaking fully in integrity with a message that God is channeling through you? Are you working with the clients that God has asked you to work with? Or are you doing what's safe that the character you're playing right now would love to do? So how do you sell as you? You sell as God in you, not some old man in the sky, but the God in you already doing the work that has already given you. While you were in your mother's womb, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. And he gave you everything, just like David and Jeremiah had, to be who he says you are. But you stripped it all off to put that makeup on and hide who you really are, to show up and play a game that your high-end coaching clients are not ready to buy, not ready to play with you. It's easy to show up and be who people want us to be, but to really sell as you so that you can naturally sell high-ticket coaching offers without a script, without anybody else's playbook, is to connect to soul, to connect to who God says that you are and be that person. When you create an offer as the woman that God says you are, owning the value, trusting and stepping out in faith to sell the high ticket offer because that's what God has asked you to sell, or the low ticket or mid ticket, whatever God has asked you to sell, be in integrity with God's word. And when you message as the woman that God says you are, there is no fear of condemnation or guilt. There is no fear of being canceled. You say the thing, even if it goes against what everybody else in the mainstream coaching industry is saying, because that's who God says you are, and that's the word that God has put inside of you. You show up whole and complete. You don't need anybody's validation on social media, so you might not even be on social media. You don't need anybody to tell you you're amazing. You already know you're amazing, because you're made in the image of God. And when you look in the mirror, you see God. God is looking right back at you. So why do you need the validation, the followers, the subscribers, the likes, and the comments when you can just show up and serve with integrity? Why do you need 1 million people when you can just sell to the 5 people God has called you here to serve? That's how you sell as yourself, authenticity. It's not by going and getting a strategy. Every time you plug into somebody else's system or strategy, you are taking that person's womb, and God didn't give you their womb for you to birth the promise he put inside of you. He gave you your prosperous womb for that. That is why my business is called the Prosperous Womb, so that women can learn to tap into and midwife the gifts God has given them and sell as themselves, because they can sell as somebody else. They cannot. It won't work. It might work for a day or two, but it will not last for a lifetime. So being who God says you are Imagine for a minute. Look at the coaching offer that you have now. Look at the business that you have now, the life that you have now. What would be possible in your business if you created the most premium, most high value offer for the work God is doing through you? What would that look like and feel like for your business? How would you show up to package and price that? How would you be when it comes to charging the value of that work? Will you confidently say the investment to work with me is X, whatever you choose it to be, based on the real future lifetime value? When it comes to messaging in your content, how will you show up in your content? Will you wait until you have makeup on? Will you just show up as you, no matter what it looks like, no matter what day you're having, to serve the people you're here to serve, no matter what's happening in your life? Will you take care of you first and not need validation from social media? Will you get your source from God? So you're fully sourced before you show up and market your work. Will you choose the best platform, or will you go asking for the how? That is what I mean when I say natural high ticket sales, when I say sell as yourself. It's not the trite thing that's all over social media, just be yourself, be you beautiful. No, you haven't been you since you were 5 years old. You haven't. So if you sell as the person that you are, you're playing different characters. You have those limiting beliefs that have kept you small and they're holding you back. Your 10K offer is holding you back. But when you show up and strip everything that is not of God out of your life, out of your business, that is when you start to sell as you, because you become the essence of who God says you are. You remember who He says you are. And you talk to the 3 or 4 clients that you're here to talk to, and they recognize themselves in the message. They raise their hands and they ask you to sell, because you're finally selling naturally as you. Let me know how this lands for you.